Hi everyone, I'm starting with chapter 33 and hoping to send you another couple of chapters during the course of the week, so please look out for it. I would like to finish Bereshit as soon as possible, so for grades 7 and 8 we could progress towards Yehoshua so that we could finish in time. I'm on chapter 33 and what we're doing now is Jacob and Esau, Yaakov and Esau are about to meet, so we're preparing for that encounter. And Yaakov looks up, and Esau is coming with 400 people with him. And of course, Yaakov, feeling guilty about everything that he did to his brother, the birthright and the blessings, he's worried that his brother is actually continuing the grudge from 20 years ago and wants to kill him. So Jacob splits his camp into two, splits between Leah and Rachel and their two maids. And Yaakov puts the maids separately with their children in front, and then Leah and their children, and Rachel and Joseph in the back. And Benjamin is not mentioned because Benjamin wasn't born yet. Okay, and Yaakov goes in front of the camp, and when he sees Esav, he bows down in front of him 7 times, and he runs up to him, and he hugs him, and they hug, and they kiss, and both of them cry. And, oops, that's not supposed to be, there we go. Okay, and he lifts his eyes and he sees all the children and all the wives and whatnot. And Esau says to Jacob, "Who are all these people?" And Yaakov says, "These are the people with whom God blessed me." And then the maids come up and bow down to him, and Leah bows down to him. And then Yosef and Rachel finally come down and they bow to him. Notice, please, that Rachel is always at the end. He is protecting her. She remains his favorite. And he says, "Why all these people?" And he says, "Yeah, I sent them all to find favor in your eyes." So he's kind of sucking up to him. And Esav says, "I don't need your gifts. I have plenty. Yesh li rav, yesh li harbe. My brother, yehi lecha asher lach. You keep whatever is yours." Please note he calls him his brother. Does it mean that his anger is finished? He's not carrying a grudge? He sounds very lovely. And Jacob insists, and he said, "If you really find favor, if I find favor in your eyes, please accept all these gifts, because that's why I came, that's why I prepared, and I come to see you like I see God. I'm so happy to see you. Accept my blessing," really means my gifts. And he says, "Don't worry, I have plenty." And he says, "Well, let's go together." And basically Esau invites Jacob as he's coming back to join him in Edom. And Yaakov is squirming to find an excuse not to go. And he says, the kids are young and weak, and the sheep are young and weak, and the cattle are young and weak. And if I push them, they're going to die on me. So forgive me, but I cannot join you, and I'm not. Why don't you pass, and you go your way, I'll go my way. And Esav goes to Seir, which is in Edom. Edom is his land. And Esav now introduces his family so that they find favor in Jacob's eyes. And then they each return to their own way. So Esav goes to Seir. Esav, Seirah. And Yaakov goes to a place called Sukkot, and they call the place Sukkot because he built huts over there to shield his animals from the sun. And Yaakov arrives in the city of Shechem in Canaan as he comes back from Padan Aram in Haran, and he stays outside the city, and he buys land from Hamor, that's his name, the father of Shechem, for 100 ksita. So we remember at Marat Machpelah, it was bought from um, Ephron Hachiti for 400 shekels. This one is for 100. And he makes an altar and he calls it El Elohei Israel. El Elohei Israel. Okay, and that brings us to chapter 35, and I have enough time in the recording to move forward a bit, so let me go on. Now God tells Yaakov, go to Beit El and live in Beit El, not in Shechem, in Beit El, and build an altar over there. And now now that he's going to Beit El, he makes everybody take away their strange gods, foreign god. So it looks like some people from the times that they were with Lavan kept their idols and God, and now as they're coming to a holy place, Beit El, he's making them get rid of everything. And he says, let's go up and we'll make an altar over there. And remember the promise at Beit El when he had the ladder and he made a promise to God that if God protects me when I come back, I will give 1/10 of my possession. So he's now back to Beit El. And they give to Yaakov all the strange god, the foreign god, and Yaakov buries them under the terebinth, under Elah, okay, in Shechem. Okay, and Yaakov was able to go peacefully. Nobody chased him, nobody disturbed him, because everybody knew that God's protection was with him. And Yaakov comes to Luz, and Luz has two names, Luz and Beit El. And he remembers that that's where he met God on his way out of Canaan, on his way to Lavan. And then Devorah, out of the blue, we meet a woman whose name is Devorah, not the same Devorah as in the prophets. And she was the nursemaid of Rivka. She died and she was buried Tachat Ha'alon, under the terebinth, and they called it Alon Bachut, the tree of tears, because they cried over there. And God appears again to Yaakov as he is returning, and now he changes his name. So before we had the incident with the angel, here God changes his name. And is it two different stories that somebody put into one book? I can't get into that now. Okay, so he changes his name from Yaakov to Israel. Yaakov, Israel, and he basically, God gives him here all the blessings of Abraham, Pru Urvu, be fruitful and multiply, and he promises him the land that he promised to Abraham and Isaac, to him and his children. So land and people are now officially transmitted to Yaakov as he returns to Eretz Israel. I'm moving down. On the way from Beit El to probably Hebron, they were just outside a town called Efrat, and Rachel gives birth to her second son. She's having problems with the birth. She's having labor problems, and the midwives tell her that this is going to be a son, trying to make her happy. However, she dies in childbirth, verse 18, Betzet Nishmata, where her soul leaves her, and she calls him Ben Oni, the son of my pain, but Jacob called the baby Binyamin, and Rachel dies, and she is buried in Beit Lechem. Notice that Rachel is not buried in Me'arat HaMachpelah like the remainder of the family. And he continues traveling and he makes his tents there. And now we review the names of the children. So the children of Leah are Yaakov, the firstborn of Yaakov, Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, and then later Issachar and Zvulun. Rachel has Yosef and Binyamin. Bilhah, her maid, has Dan and Naphtali. And Zilpah, Leah's maid, has Gad and Asher. Please note, Dinah is not mentioned. They only mention the boys. Yaakov returns to Yitzchak, to Me'arat HaMachpelah in Hebron, and Yitzchak dies at the age of 180, and Esav and Yaakov both attend to his burial. We are going to stop here, and I'll send another video in a few days.